Breaking news, everybody! Pokemon Scarlet and Violet is going to have more for you to do in-game to progress the story than just gyms. And we may not even have to take on the gym challenge at all. How can this be? Stay tuned for more!
Okay, seriously, how is no one talking about this? Alright, how aren't more people talking about this? Also, in case any of you are out there and thinking I stole this idea, I suggest you check out the Goldenrod podcast, where I covered this theory weeks ago. New episodes every Friday at 7 PM UK time. So what are we actually talking about here? Well, it's my belief that this shot in the second trailer is very specifically constructed to illustrate to us that as well as gyms being in the game, we're also going to get two other optional paths to progress the story. This one on the right is represented by these crossed flags and that star symbol we saw in the first trailer, and the one on the left being this large tower. Then there's the Gym Challenge logo, which opens up a world of speculation all unto itself. So, without further ado, let's get into it. Starting with what we can assume to be the Gym Challenge. Why are we assuming it's the Gym Challenge? Well, look at it. That's your classic battle arena that we associate with gyms, thanks to both the anime and those that we saw in Generation 8. That being said, there's actually quite a bit going on here. For instance, that Pokeball symbol in the middle has a mixture of colors inside of it, kind of in a shatter hollow pattern. Little nod to all my TCG fans out there. This is similar to the Pokeball at the center of the mosaic that we saw in the first trailer, which led many to believe, myself included, that the new gimmick would have something to do with altering typings, and perhaps adding a third typing to your Pokemon momentarily. Could this signify that the gym leaders will utilize this gimmick? Again, similar to how Dynamax was used within Generation 8? I believe so. And what's more, what I believe to be the Gym Challenge logo has an interesting design. You might not be able to see it whilst it's upside down, but if we flip it, then it clearly reveals itself to be in the shape of a sailboat. Now what could that mean? If you followed this channel for a while, you'll know that I have previously speculated that the sea and travel over it will play an integral role within this generation, and this is simply further evidence towards that. Maybe the gyms are set at the farthest corners of the region, or off on isolated islands, and locating them, and actually getting to them, is all part of the challenge. It would certainly tie into the theme of travel and exploration that we're expecting to be prevalent in these games. It also means that another of my previous theories is more likely to be true, but we'll circle back to that in a bit. First, let's take a look at those flags with the star symbol. Many have pointed out that the way they're crossed over makes them look like racing flags, and I agree. We also have that star symbol, which, as I stated earlier, we actually got a glimpse of in the first trailer. So it's clearly something important that we're supposed to take notice of. Given that it's so distinct from the sailboat logo we've already seen, I'm led to believe that this is signifying an entirely different kind of event. Without seeing more, we're left to purely speculate. But I'm not one to turn down the opportunity for some good old speculation, so here's my thoughts. Pokemon Racing. Yeah, I'm not sure about it either, but hear me out. As I pointed out before, these flags look like racing flags. But there's also the plethora of motor vehicle iconography throughout these trailers, from the legendaries who look like motorbikes to the gas station style Pokemon centers that display adverts for wheels on them. Spain and Portugal are also famous for their race circuits both in Formula 1 and MotoGP, so it wouldn't be a stretch for Game Freak to want to include a reference to this in their region. But then why do I say Pokemon Racing? See, this is the part I'm not sure about. As cool as I think it would be to tear around a racetrack on a souped up bike, it's not really got anything to do with Pokemon. And after all, the Pokemon are kind of what I play these games for. So maybe it's more akin to the kind of racing we've seen in the anime. There was that episode in the Indigo League series where Ash rode a Ponyta in a Pokemon race, and I'd love to see something like that be implemented in the games. Plus, we've already had reference to Rhyhorn racing in X and Y, where our mother was a competitor before moving to the Kalos region. Though it doesn't really explain the whole wheels being advertised at the Pokemon Center thing. Chariot racing, maybe? That would actually be really cool. There's actually a golden chariot statue at Parc de Ciutadella in Barcelona, so there's possible inspiration for this concept. The final scene we'll look at then, before I jump into the awesome thing this all means for the franchise, is this giant tower. Now, let me know in the comments if you disagree with me, but this looks like a classic RPG dungeon to me. Scale to the top of the tower in the middle of the desert, opening locked doors and solving puzzles on the ascent before you face a boss battle at the top. Is it just me? I seriously hope not, because strong dungeon design has been something that has been sorely lacking from the mainline Pokemon games up till now, and I'd love to see them finally fully implemented. Maybe by completing this particular tower, you're able to trigger the event that summons from the ground whatever this turns out to be. There's not really a whole lot more I can say about this at the moment, as so little of this tower has been shown, but I'm confident that this will not be a one-of-a-kind location. Nor will the racetrack. No. It's my belief that given the open world nature of the games, and the Pokemon website's assertion that you can experience a new style of adventure with a world that you're free to explore at your leisure and not in an order dictated by the story, that gyms won't even be the only way to progress the story. You may instead be able to choose your own path. Maybe you do want to take on the gym challenge, but maybe you just want to investigate 8 mysterious ancient towers of the region, or take part in the 8 races of the Grand Prix. All of the routes will take you across the region, but will allow you to play the game that you want, how you want. It does raise an interesting factor though. If you can progress the story in multiple ways, then what kind of evil team will we have to deal with? Now, I say evil team. The group we'd have previously labeled as the evil team have been more simply a group of antagonists over the previous generations, simply there to get in the way of the player. Team Skull and Team Yell were more of a nuisance than evil, and the true villains of those games actually turned out to be the Aether Foundation and Macrocosmos respectively. We have no reason to believe that Game Freak are going to break that streak in this generation. So with that in mind, what kind of team would want to stop someone competing in the gym challenge, or from taking part in the Grand Prix, or simply exploring ruins? Honestly, I don't think it would make a whole lot of sense for all of those roles to be taken on by one antagonistic group. As such, I think we're actually going to see a number of groups try and stand in our way depending on which path we take. Starting with those from that previous theory I spoke of earlier, a band of pirates. Check out this video to see why I think there will almost certainly be a pirate-based evil team in this game, but for those of you who just want the condensed version, rigging, treasure, maps, flag, Age of Exploration, which just so happens to coincide with the Age of Piracy, and this sailboat logo. Yep, I believe that if my theory is correct, and you truly do have to sail the ocean to arrive at the gym locations, well, that's just the perfect opportunity to be waylaid by pirates, isn't it? So, if the gym challenge is covered by a band of pirates, then what about the Grand Prix? Well, in my personal opinion, it would be a real missed opportunity in a game with this much inspiration taken from motorbikes to not have a biker gang as an evil team. Bikers and Roughnecks are trainer classes that have existed since Generation 1, and have always taken on a semi-villainous role, primarily using poisonous and dark-type Pokemon in battle, so in a way, they're already prepped to take on the position. Also, biker gangs have a reputation for, let's say, playing by their own rules. I could very easily see a group getting behind a competitor in the Grand Prix who's amongst their ranks and trying to interfere with anyone who threatens their chance of success, namely you, the player character. Similar to the relationship Team Yell had with Marnie in Sword and Shield. It just fits too well. That leaves us then with a team to act as an antagonist for your exploration of the towers or ruins. My first thought was Nazis. You know, because they were always the antagonists in those old pulp adventures like Indiana Jones. But I don't think I have to explain why that definitely will not be the case for this kids game. Instead, I imagine it will be a rival archaeologist. Someone who wants artifacts simply for their monetary value rather than their historical relevance. Again, until we see more footage of these towers or ruins, there's only so much speculating I can do. But those are my initial guesses at the 3 different routes you have to progress the story in Scarlet and Violet, as well as the evil teams that will try to stand in your way on your particular journey. Of course, as mentioned, they're not likely to be the true villains, the ones that will be related to the legendaries. No, that'll be the professors. Be sure to subscribe, like, comment, ring the bell, do all the YouTube things, and I shall see you on the next episode.